Hello.
Hello, Robert, and thank you for accepting this interview. It's very nice to have you here. After following you on social media, you're always sharing a lot of information, mindset tips. So it's great to have you here to talk about your experience and the next event that you're planning in March in London. So tell us a bit more about who you are exactly for the people who don't know you yet.
Thank you, Natasha, for having me. Yeah, I'm here in London. I'm actually in an Airbnb right now. So if you hear a little bit of if you hear a little bit of background sound, that's the guy who's walking around cleaning the common area. But I like the spot because it's very convenient for me. So yeah, I'm Robertin Nunez. I am the CEO and founder of the CoHostExpert company, which we are a short-term rental property management company. We're based out of Philadelphia, New York, and we just entered Europe, and we're now in Madrid, and I'm loving it. You know, uh, originally I'm a real estate owner and developer by trade. So when the short-term rental industry exploded, I was very fortunate because I owned properties and buildings, and we converted them into rentals, and that turned out to be such a success that we were able to then start offering management services to our owners, affiliate owners that we know, because to trial and error, and that's how we built our management company. So we also the founders of Hosts2Pro, which is a short-term rental workshop masterclass for hosts and property managers specifically. And I'm very happy to be here today.
And how long have you been doing this? How long have you been a host?
Okay, I've been in real estate development and building for about 20 plus years. I purchased my first property when I was 19 years old. And I've been hosting, I would buy the worst properties in the worst neighborhoods as they were developing. They're not the worst neighborhoods anymore. But, and then, I entered the short-term rental market in late 2012, early 2013 by accident. I was living in New York City, and I had properties in Philadelphia, and I was going back and forth a lot. And a friend of mine says, "Hey, why don't you Airbnb?" In 2012, and I was like, "What's that?" And that question changed my life, because if I didn't ask that question, I wouldn't have been able to be where I'm at today. So I said, "What's that?" And by asking, it opened the door to to create this business. And I started in New York. I started with the property that I had. I rented it out. I put it on the listing, little cell phone. And the next thing you know, I had two young ladies rent it. It was like $300 something. And I'm like, wow, this works. And I caught the fever, and I've had the fever since. It's a 7-8 year fever now.
Yeah.
It's the flu at this point. And I can't stop. I can't stop, and I won't stop. Yeah.
And how many properties do you have that you own, and how many that you're managing as a co-host?
Well, we have a pretty good property portfolio that we own in several cities. But between what we own, manage, and consult for, because I also consult for people in their properties, as of the latest now, we're about 96. We're at 96 because, we also work with owners and larger hosts who help portfolios. And that's what happens in this industry. When you start developing relationships, you start helping each other, like yourself and, you and I. So you start helping each other. So we consult for a couple of owners. We own a good portfolio, and we manage a good portfolio. And we're looking to keep growing. We're not stopping now.
And so you're almost close to the 100. So what's
I'm going to hit 100. I'm going to hit 100. Yeah,
when?
I'm going to hit 100 this year.
This year, okay.
Oh, I'm going to hit. No. I'm going to hit 100 probably before the wait. We're going to hit 100 by the summer, because we already have a 4-unit under agreement. We're just waiting for them to finish it.
Okay.
And you know what? I didn't even think about that until you said that right now. So I think I might celebrate.
Yeah, like if you already have them on agreements, it should be closed by summer, definitely.
Yeah. Agreement is an agreement. I want keys and reservations. When I get keys and reservations, then I say, okay, we got the 100. Yeah.
Okay, great. And talking about goals, what do you think about goals? How to reach them? What's a good ways to reach goals?
Wow. I am a goal-oriented animal. I live I live specifically pardon, I live specifically for goals.
Mhm,
I journal. So I don't know if anybody's watching or chiming in on this. Journaling has changed my personal and business life
mhm,
for the better. In my library at home, I have my journals. Here's one right here, right? And every day, every year, I write out what I want to accomplish that year. That means that I literally have to take some time to think about that, and
mhm,
then I plan it out. And I shoot big. Like I don't write anything small. I
mhm,
make sure that I make sure that I write big goals.
mhm.
And do you mind if I just lower the audience right behind me, or can you hear? 1 second, please. He's got headphones on while he's vacuuming and screaming. So yeah. So what I do is I write out the goals for the year, and I make sure I don't just write the things that I can reach. I really put thought into it for things that I feel are out of my reach,
Uh-huh.
because you can't grow until it's out of your reach.
Mhm.
And then every month, at the end of the month, I write down what I need to achieve that month.
Okay.
And then on page 4, for example, right?
Mhm, mhm.
On Sunday, I write my list for the week, but I make sure I start grabbing things from the month, right?
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
And I write my whole list. And then when I say I write my list, I don't mean, you know, pick the baby up, well, my kids are big, but like pay my cell phone bill. I don't mean things that aren't relevant or pertinent. I mean things that are important,
Mhm, mhm.
because we can easily, people make the mistake with journals. They make a journal to-do list, and
Uh-huh.
they start filling it up with a bunch of stuff that doesn't really help you grow. So
Mhm,
I write stuff from Sunday over, and I write it, on Monday I write some, on Tuesday, Wednesday. When Thursday comes around, I go back and I look at my journal, and I do an inspection on my weekly, and I realize I only have 2 days to go in the week, roughly. So I start speeding up if I'm behind on some things, but
mhm.
I'm really never behind, because every single day I'm going back and looking at my journal and my notes. I literally, sometimes I've left my journal and I've returned to go back and get it. Even one time from the airport, I had to go back home because I'm walking around like I don't know what I'm doing, because I'm so focused on it. So by the time the end of the week comes, I've achieved major things in my plan, and I'm about 94, 95% effective every week.
Mhm,
Sometimes I don't reach my 100% because it's related to other people or timing or businesses.
mhm,
Sometimes it's some things that you may wind up having to roll over a little bit more time.
mhm,
You want to look at a property. The owner said not today, next week, so you got to move that. But what happens is, when the next Sunday comes, here's a beautiful word. When the next Sunday comes, I look at my last week
mhm,
that I've checked everything off. And if I don't do something, I write like a little 0 next to it, so I know I missed it. And when the next week comes, I literally grab those zeros. The first thing on my next week's list are those zeros.
mhm,
And then plus I write the next week's stuff.
mhm,
So it's not like I missed it and I never went back to it. If it's written in my book, it's been accomplished. Sometimes maybe not in the week, but
mhm,
it's been accomplished.
mhm,
It doesn't go unfinished.
mhm,
And so that helps me with that. That pertains to goal setting. So
mhm,
I think about my goals, and I think about them. Some people just say things. You really have to think about it.
mhm,
Why do I want to be in the short-term rental industry? Why do I want 50 units? Why did I want to open a management company?
mhm,
Why did I want to move into Europe? You have to think about those things,
mhm,
because once you start thinking about them, you start writing them down, they may start manifesting.
mhm,
So I think about it, I write them down, and then I go from there. So goal setting is important, because if you don't think about it and write it down, it's not going to happen.
mhm,
Many people, I have so many friends and colleagues that talk about amazing ideas and things that they want to do. And they've been having the same conversation for the past 5, 10, 20 years.
mhm,
And they just never started.
mhm,
Even, no, not even that they never started. They never even thought about it and wrote it down,
mhm,
and then took the first step towards what they wrote down.
mhm,
And I'm telling you this, Natasha, when you write something down,
mhm.
it already starts taking life.
Yeah.
And when you look at it and you take that one first step towards it, it goes from there.
Yeah.
And that's the truth. That's the truth. So goal setting is very important, but it's not something you just talk about. It's a plan. So everybody operates differently. Some people operate on cell phones. I work out of a journal. So if you go to my library at home, which is my most prized possession, my library, you'll see 15, 16 years worth of my life written down. And I'll grab a book in 2011 and you'll see things that I accomplished then written down. And I love it.
Yeah.
So that's my view of goal setting. Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful when it happened to me, like you go, like you find okay, I'm not that organized, is the fact that you have everything in a library, but I have like somewhere written like things that I want to accomplish. And when you when I find it by chance, like, whoa, I wrote this and it happened. I wrote this, it happened. It's amazing to see everything you had planned already happen in your life, so
Isn't it?
yeah, that's a beautiful thing. Yeah, definitely. And I totally agree with the thing that when you write it and manifesting, it's out of our how to say,
out of our control.
but this is working. This is definitely working. Yeah.
And you just said something. One more thing. When I say goal setting, it's not just business related. So for example, I know you can't see this, but I have a line, and then on one side it'll be like real estate, personal, and then co-hosting and conference. So I break it up into categories because I add personal. Because every single day I have a new little symbol. So so a star means something I have to do. That can't be missed. My number one on every single one of my pages in the past years, the first thing on all of my journals, the top it says, talk to God every morning. That's the first thing I do. Talk to God and listen to God. And I always have a star next to it. That means that no matter what happens that day, I have to talk to God. Secondly, like a circle, not a circle, a circle with a line in it means something mundane. It just has to be done. An arrow means I delegate it. And if it has a heart, if it has an arrow pointing to the right, I delegate it to somebody. If it has an arrow pointing up, it's something that's going to grow. So it's a move that I have to do to help me elevate. And then if it has a heart, it's something that improves the quality of my life. And every day, because I used to be very business focused, and I realized I missed a lot of days of hearts. So every day I make sure I put 1 or 2 hearts in my day for something, that makes me feel like a human being. It makes me feel good. Because I'm a machine when it comes to work, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So right now, what are the personal things that you like to do out of your business?
I love, what are my personal things that I like to do that what? What was the last part?
Out of business.
Oh, yes. Okay. I love reading. I like reading. I like writing. I wrote a book. It's in editing now, so God willing, it has to drop this year. And I love spending time with my children because my daughter's 23, my son is 18. And at that age, I just realized that kids have more of a social life than we do. I literally have to make a schedule to see them, and I have to make plans with my children. Whereas when they were younger, it was like, this is what we're doing, and you're gonna do it, and you're gonna wear this, and you're gonna love it, whether you like it or not. but now that they're older, I'm like, hey, I would like to see you, because they have such a busy life, So I understand, and I support it. So I love spending time with my children. My daughter was just in Spain last week. She was in Madrid, and that was very beautiful. And and my son, he's amazing. So I FaceTime them and I message them and I call them as much as possible. I love to cook. I love cooking. Cooking relaxes me. I really enjoy that. Yeah, and I love to eat. That's why I love to cook. So I'm a foodie. So the beautiful thing about what we do for work, that we get to travel, is that I get to go to these amazing places and try these amazing restaurants. And I will walk in, and honestly, I will try anything at least once to know if I like it. Like I ate jellyfish not that long ago. I didn't like it, but anything, yeah. So those are some of my nice personal hobbies.
Oh, nice.
and and um and I spend a lot of alone time, quiet time, talking to God and just being peaceful by myself, because I need to a person needs to be able to have some quiet time because we're so distracted by so many things. So whatever you're doing in your quiet time, you need to give yourself some moments, because if you're constantly being pulled in every direction, how do you know what direction you're going in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. And
Yeah.
that brings me to the next question about discipline and mindset. What do you think it's important to be a professional host?
Well, mindset. You have to understand that this is a business. I know that there's a story out there that, an Airbnb or short-term rental is build an apartment and walk away. It's not. It's a business. And it's a very profitable and great business that can give you a great life, because it gives you back, in exchange for money, also that it makes, it also gives you back time and freedom.
Yeah, definitely.
And that is, so some people measure their success by the profit and loss, but they never factor in lifestyle. So if you factor in the life that you lead with profit and loss, you're making millions. You have to consider that. So, I just did 30 days. I just did 30 days in Europe. I literally haven't been back to our base of operation in Philadelphia in 30 days. And it's operating great. So I got that part of my life back, So mindset is that this is a business, and you have to have a business mindset. Even if you're not a business person, if you never did it before, you have to understand that it's something that's going to require your attention. It's going to require resources. It's going to require some money. It's going to require you to understand that sometimes things are going to go wrong, and everything's not going to be great. But that's what life is about, learning, falling, getting up. You see, everybody wants to rise, but the opposite of rising is you're coming from the bottom. So how can you rise if you were never in the bottom? So eventually you're going to fall, and you have to know you have to get back up. And you also have to know that with all the good, there's going to be some negatives. With all the positives, there's going to be some negatives. So you have to develop in your mindset a thick skin that don't spend too much time on the problem. Look at the solution. I'm a resolutionist. So in my company, when something goes wrong, always does, things happen, right? Because it's a people business. When things go wrong, I never get upset about it. I never even really question it when it happens. First thing I say is, okay, what's going on? Oh, this and that. We got to put out this fire. I'm like, okay, let's get it done. When it's done, then I go back and I gather the people together and I say, okay, what happened? Because when something is resolved, the person who was responsible, or the system or whatever was responsible, comes forward because it's fixed, right? So they don't feel that bad. But if you try to address it before you fix it, nobody wants to take responsibility.
Yeah, true.
So I teach my team that everything is resolvable. I teach my family this. Everything is resolvable. Everything can be fixed. Everything can be addressed. Right. Everything can be, it may not be fixed or resolved to exactly your liking, but everything can be resolved. So your mindset has to be, how do I get past this moment and go to the next moment? Because there's a next moment waiting for me. And I can't spend too much time here. I need to grow, and I need to get past this. You can't dwell, because then you just sit there in a cycle going over and over. So it's important to have a move forward mindset, resolve it, and get good people around you and make things happen. You have to. And discipline is, I went to sleep last night at 2:30 in the morning, and I was up at 4:30 for a flight, from Madrid here. I'm going to do 4 days of work, go back home. On social media, people are like, oh my God, you were in Spain, Madrid, New York. Yeah, but it's work. But I love it. I complain not, thank you, Lord. I complain not, but it requires discipline. You have to know that sometimes you're not going to be able to go do what everybody wants to do. You need to get the job done. Sometimes you may need to clean that apartment. I've cleaned. I have a great cleaning system because I've cleaned 100 apartments. So I know exactly what it is, right? Sometimes you're going to, sometimes you're not going to make the exact amount of money, but you still have to be disciplined with your financial responsibilities. Sometimes you have to have the discipline to follow your dream and your aspiration and your purpose when everything and everybody is telling you that you're wrong. You have to have discipline. You have to be focused on it. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Because they will try to talk you out of it. Yeah.
Yeah, like people, it's always like this. I think it's always the most important thing, and it's a discipline because right now with social media, with everything, you have access to everything. It's cutting out the noise. If you focus on the noise, you will not have the discipline to go forward to your goals. That's definitely.
Yeah, you got to be disciplined and not get on social media all the time too.
Definitely.
You have to spend. Yeah, you have to spend. If you know, you got to spend some time off. You got to spend some quiet time and thinking and create. Yeah, agree.
Yeah. And you mentioned teams, like how you were working with your teams. What do you think is the most important tips for people who are hosts or managers of short-term rentals when building their team?
Okay, team building. Yeah, team building is hugely important. One of the biggest mistakes that I made was trying to do everything ourselves or hiring people that you were just cool with or friends or family to do things that should be done professionally. And a lot of individuals do that. You know, we start something and we want to take our friends and our family and our loved ones and our close ones. And then we wind up, sometimes it works, but most times it doesn't. And you wind up going to those services or other companies anyways. So if you need to fall by working with those close people to then rise and work professionally, then so be it. But you could also skip the headache and just, you know, hire professionals to be professionals. If you were going to have a brain surgery, if you were going to have brain surgery, you would want the doctor who's the best at it, or would you want somebody who's every now and then I do this? You want the guy who's the best at it. So you should treat your business the same. You want to, you know, use the best people possible. Now, when you're starting a business or you're in business, the best people, sometimes it's a financial thing. You say, I can't afford it. I stopped saying that. You know, once you say I can't afford it, then you can't afford it. What I say is, how can I make this happen? And when I say that, then it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So building a good team will get you. I haven't done this on my own. I have an amazing team of people. I still do. Some of them have been with me since day one. And they've helped us grow in leaps and bounds. And a lot of this is due to them because I haven't been back base of operation in 30 days, you know, but and it's still growing. So find the right people. And I don't have employees, I have a team. You know, I may be the quarterback of my team, but they're still my team. That means that if somebody's not functioning correctly, the team might not win the game. So team building is very important.
And regarding the team, who are like the important people in a team?
Well, every operation is different, but in my operation, for example, my right-hand person, my manager, my field operations manager, he's super important because he's me when I'm not there. Like, you know, he's the operations of the business, making sure that the things happening outside of online are being satisfied, whether it's maintenance, restock, repairs, furnishing, all those things are taking place correctly. My cleaning managers are amazing because the cleaning crews and house cleaning is the front line. You know, most reviews go bad when a person walks through the door. And if they don't get that good smell, that good look, and it feels right and it feels warm, if they don't have that, or cool if it's a hot place, if they don't have that, the reservation already starts declining in the wrong direction. So my house cleaners are my front line as well. So my cleaning managers are very important. My field operations person is extremely important because he has to be able to deliver on the vision of what I'm putting out there. You know, that's important. And the partnerships with other businesses, companies, and hosts, because we collaborate on different projects. That's also important. So like I have this one owner who referred me to another owner, and now we're about to secure a large building because of it. So your relationships is very important. So even though they may not be part of your company, where you're planting your seeds of business and relationship is just as important.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I had
Yeah.
a group training right now, and one of my member was talking. We were talking about networking this week, and we were talking about this exactly. Like she was asking me, "Oh, is it good this kind of collaboration?" And she just had the example. In fact, she just was celebrating one win that she got contacted because of this kind of group of this collaboration. So yes, of course, you will not get everything like today, but on the long term, you get like the relationship is very important. Yeah, definitely.
You know, it's let me be a testimony to that. A couple of weeks ago, I posted that my word for 2020 is collaboration. So
Mm-hmm.
you just use it. And in collaboration, you build and you grow because you can't do this by yourself.
Yeah.
Because even, you can't unless you're doing one unit and it's your house next to your bedroom. Like you can't do this by yourself. So my word is collaboration because together we can grow farther and go faster.
Yeah.
And the launch of our event, Hosts2Pros,
Mm-hmm.
is a testimony of collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten together with great companies, with great hosts, with great partners, and we've created this valuable, needed service and event that's going to take place to help others. Because if we help these other hosts achieve a certain level as they're rising, we're going to be part of that network as well.
Mm-hmm.
So collaboration is extremely important.
Mm-hmm.
If any individual who wants to do it by themselves or is a one-man show, or if I don't do it right, if I don't do it, nobody can do it right, I'm the only one who can do this right,
Mm-hmm.
you're not really a business person. You own a job, maybe you're power hungry, or you just don't trust anybody, or maybe you've had some bad experiences
Mm-hmm.
and you feel like you don't want it to happen again because it cost you too much last time. But
Mm-hmm.
that's a part of falling. Like when you learn how to drive,
Mm-hmm.
you didn't get behind the wheel and start going 60 miles an hour and never bumped into nobody. You had to go through the process. And when you bumped your car, you didn't give up driving forever, right?
Sure.
You figured it out. So yeah, collaboration is hugely important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And what's the biggest mistake? Because you have given a lot of great tips. What's the biggest
Mm.
mistake you did while building your company, building your team, whatever mistakes you think is the worst one and that you don't want others listening to do the same?
Yeah, that's a whole interview in itself. I'm going to say, understanding that mistakes had to happen.
Mm-hmm.
One of my mistakes was that in the beginning was not understanding that the mistakes were really serving a good purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Because they were learning lessons. But they do. And I've made so many different projects. I understand. Um, not not building a team early on,
Mm-hmm.
a quality team. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, our turnover in the beginning was very high. Now our retention rate, people stay with our company, they don't want to leave now. But that's because I didn't really know how to build a team in the beginning. So building a quality team is important.
Mm-hmm.
We had to create a property management company because of our portfolio,
Mm-hmm.
but hosts who don't use a property management company for their short-term rentals, and they burn out because they're focusing on just the operations and not growing their business.
Mm-hmm.
That's a mistake. One of my biggest mistakes was trying to grow faster than what I was able to service. So at one point in 2014,
Mm-hmm.
we picked up, we increased our portfolio by like 70%, 72% in 1 year. It
Mm-hmm.
was just, they were just coming left and right.
Mm-hmm.
And, but we grew faster than what we could handle. Now that doesn't mean don't grow, but you have to understand that the 3 people you got when you got 10 units is not going to be the same. A 4th person is not going to let you do 20 units or 30. Like, you have to learn and measure your growth and say, okay, that's your part of the business owner. I have to grow with my business and not just grow evenly. You got to grow a little farther. You got to think a little bit in advance. So, that was a rough lesson for us, not being able to manage the growth when it came quickly. We
Mm-hmm.
took a hit, but then we recovered, and then we put everything into systems. Everything's in a system. We're very automated in a lot of senses. So, our business runs a lot more smoothly now.
Mm-hmm.
And another one is not attending conferences and workshops. because people think that because they watch a YouTube, people think that because they watch a YouTube or they listen to a video or a podcast one day or they read a book that they know everything. But when you go to these because you're not been to them, when you go and we met each other, where was it, Como, right?
Yeah.
Right. So each other in Italy. When you go to these conferences, you realize that, wow, there's so much I don't know. Because you have professionals there speaking to you openly, giving you information, whether you sign up with them or use a product or not. You start learning. Every time I've gone to a conference, every single one, especially the one in Como, great job, Antonio, to him, fantastic conference. Every time I go to a conference and I go back home, I literally have 6 months to a year's worth of work in front of me. Because that's how much information is there and how many changes I can make, because what you were doing 3 years ago is not what you're going to be doing now. So, not attending conferences early on in this industry because certain things were working and the money was coming in. So you're like, oh, it's a success because the money's coming in. It's not about the money because the money will slow down. You have to know how to grow your business. So I urge that. I didn't do a lot of it in the beginning, but now I'm at 4 conferences a year and I speak at 4 or 5 of them a year as well. So, that's important. It helps you.
Okay, that's great. And we were talking, like you were mentioning conferences to learn. Do you think it's the best way to learn? Do you have other ways that you have been learning to grow your business, especially for short-term rental?
Yeah, there's a lot of ways. One, start. You're going to learn as you grow. Right?
That's good. That's a good point. It's always the point that a lot of people don't do. They don't start. They just...
well, they analyze it and they want to figure it out. And they write it down and they journal it and everything, but they don't pull the trigger. They don't start. And they'll really and everything that they think that they know, most of it is different when you start. Everything you think you know changes, and that's okay. That's part of the process. So starting is important. Very important to learn is to find somebody who's doing it and talk to them. Don't ask for a presentation. Ask for a conversation. Hey, how do you do this? Okay, how's it working for you? People who are successful, I find genuinely are willing to share their information and the way how they succeeded with other people, because I remember what it was like to be you. So now that I see this, I'm like, man, I remember that. You know what? Let me give you some information to stop you from bumping your head there. It's up to you to take it. But here's a couple of things that I did that worked. Here's a couple of things I did that didn't work. And that's important. So growing by your association and by you intentionally asking someone, how can I grow? What advice? Literally ask somebody, what suggestions or advice do you have for me to help me? People will. The books that you read, and who do you follow online? If mostly everybody, obviously everybody here watching this is on social media, or are you following successful people in the industry that you're in? Because they're already doing it. They're the role model of what you want to be. So you want to be a host, but all you're doing is following fashion. No. You got to follow hosts. Property managers and providers. Like you have to be immersed in you have to immerse yourself in your industry. It's very important. So those are some of my tips. Your association of people, the books that you read, who you follow, and the content that you put in. Good content in, good workout. You have to be very mindful to that. You got that?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. And another way, like we talked about before this interview, is mentoring. Do you think it's important to have a mentor in addition to going to the conference, read the books? Do you think mentoring is an important part?
Yes, I didn't include mentoring in how you learn because I think mentoring is so personal and so important. It holds its own category. So I have a mentor. I've had him for 20 years, I would say, several times a year. But one conversation with him is enough for 6 months for me because I humble myself and I understand. And it doesn't mean that just because he gives me a suggestion or advice, it doesn't go questioned. But I do know that I have to look at it from another perspective because he's at a level in life in so many aspects that I want to be in,
Mm-hmm.
or that I'm striving to be,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or in the direction of where I'm going.
Mm-hmm.
So why would I think that I know better? You know, that's the same thing when parents tell the kids, you know, they give the kids some advice, and then they're like, the kid's like, why? And you're like, just trust me. We have to be adults and do the same thing. You know, so find somebody in front of you who's a mentor. And I congratulate you, because I was telling you earlier, your questions prompt people to think. Like, I read your posts and I'm like, that's a good question. I think I read one that, who's got this Instagram thing down? Raise your hand. And then I seen your followers putting the little hands up. And I thought that was funny, you know, but you make people think and then engage in conversation. So yeah, mentorship is important. I think that if somebody's willing to mentor you, you should definitely appreciate it and go for it, whether it's paid or volunteer. Everybody's going to want to volunteer because nobody wants to pay. Sometimes you get what you pay for, you know, but mentorship is hugely important.
Mm-hmm. And do you think it's important to have mentors in the same industry, or a mentor general for business?
Yeah, I think that a mentor or an advisor in the industry is important, because they're in it, they're in the field with you, and mentors learn too. Mentors can learn, you know, from their mentees. I also believe that mentors outside of the industry are important, because they may be looking at life from a different perspective that you can apply to what you do. My mentor is not even in any industry that I'm in, but his perspective of business and life is so on point that it always makes an impact into what I do. So it's, you know, so that's very important. So both of them can apply.
Okay, that's good. And now that we have talked, you have given so much value. I hope that everyone has watched every minute of this, because a lot of value. And
especially when I walked away to tell the guy to shut up, right?
This was stopped, so don't worry. But talk a bit more about this event that you have just founded, Hosts2Pro. Who is it for?
Oh yeah. Okay. Hosts2Pros, HOSTS2PROS.com. Hosts2Pros. It's a one-day masterclass workshop, not a trade show, not a sell fest, not a walk around, grab brochures with a bag, eat all the chocolates. No, it's a one-day masterclass workshop that we created for hosts and property managers. Whether you're a host with one unit, whether you're thinking of getting into the industry, whether you have 1, 2, 3, 4 units, whether you have 10, 20, 30 units, whether you're property management with a portfolio of 100 units, or if you're a real estate developer or owner and you own some property and you're thinking, or property management, you're thinking about getting into the industry. Hosts2Pro created to help individuals in our industry with a clear direction on how to operate your short-term rental business. Not, you know, hey, it's only reservations, or it's only bookings, or it's only guest reviews. No, this is a business, and there's certain pieces of the puzzle that are very important in the business. Hosts2Pro brings those pieces together and provides it to the people that are attending. And if you're going to do this and you want to be successful in this industry, we may not have every single answer, but this is blueprint to set you on the right course. So what we're doing is I'm bringing to you 7 years worth of ups and downs, and I got rid of the downs and I packaged it up into the ups as best as possible, and saying, this is your starter kit. Or if you already started, review this, and this may be your improvement kit. There may be things in here that you're not even considering, you know, and add these to your business and look at it so that you can elevate, because our objective in Hosts2Pro is to elevate you to the next level. You know, so that's the objective, and it's exciting. We've got some fantastic presenters. We have rented.com, Mateo Bradford. He's the business development director. He's going to speak about revenue management. Everybody thinks revenue is reservations. No, there's more to it. You're losing so much money that you don't even know. We have a Do & Co, which is a fantastic company. They're going to be speaking about how to grow in a larger asset. So you may want to open in different cities. How do you do that? They help with that, and they can even guide you that. We have SEO Connect and get more direct bookings tickets. We're going to teach you how to have a stronger presence online, not just depend on booking sites. And because what happens is a lot of when they think that they're in business because they have properties on Airbnb, Booking, and HomeAway and TripAdvisor, and they have a company. No, because if they all pull the plug on you, you're out of business. So you have to consider, how do you keep your business running? You have to own your business as well. And we have my new.
We lost you.
Okay.
And you were saying Manu?
Yeah.
It got cut here.
Okay. Yeah, so we have Manu. Yeah, so we have Manu, which is helping you improve the smart technology in your house, which is important because if you're not available, there's certain things that have to happen that a person may not be able to do. And that's just a few. We have so many other companies that are really interested in coming aboard. But the objective is, we're not looking for companies and the presenters to come and just say, here, use this. No. We're bringing presenters aboard that are going to bring a value to the host and the property managers. So when you leave Hosts2Pro, you say to yourself, man, there's so much work I have to do, or my business has gotten better because I attended. And that's our objective. And it takes place in London, March 21st. Very limited. It's very, very small. I think it's only 150 tickets, no more than that. I think, yeah, if that. And it's taking place in London on Saturday. And, they can definitely grab the information right from your link, and hopefully join us, because you're gonna learn some things there. You're gonna elevate your business, because that's our goal. My goal is to elevate your business. Right?
And why did you create this event? Why did you decide after?
Yeah, we'll see who attends.
So, I was saying, why you decided to create this event after the short-term rental.
I always believe in. See, I'm a business person, and I'm very focused in my endeavors. But I also believe in sharing your testimony and your journey. And I've been to so many conferences, and I have a lot of work to do when I leave them. But I felt that there was a basic lack of structure in this industry to help people do better and grow. And it really affects everybody. It's like the global warming issue, as they call it. It affects everybody because, bad press here and there kind of affects all of us in a certain way. So I've been very fortunate, and people have opened the door for me. And I've gotten to a certain point in my career, and still going forward, where I can reach back and open the door for others. And whether the person walks through the door or not is up to them, but I will open it for you. So, we created Hosts2Pros in the sense of, and I said we could have a partner on this one in London, Sean Stephenson, good man, create a Hosts2Pro to give back and say, here's a blueprint of how to do this right, so you can not take some of the hits that we took. You're still going to take some on your own, but this will reduce it, and it'll set you on the right direction. And in the essence of giving back, each one teach one. And truthfully, also, when we're putting these events together, I wind up learning. Because I'm sitting there with you listening to the presenters, and I'm like, oh, this is great. And I wind up learning from other host experiences. So Hosts2Pro is really built to help hosts and property managers in the full realm in every aspect of it. That's what we did.
Okay, that's perfect. I really recommend everyone to join. I think after watching this video, watching all the value you gave, and I'm sure that all the other speakers at the event, because you are also speaking at the event, all the other speakers will give as much value as you're giving. I'm pretty sure that everyone will want to.
Hope so.
Hopefully.
Yes, they should all. Well, the the curriculum is designed for value, you know, and that's the objective of it, you know. And afterwards, we're going to do a Q&A, a survey about, you know, how do people feel about it to make the next one better. But definitely, you know, this one time this year, March 21st in London. I hope anybody who's watching this joins us. You know, let us know you came with Natasha, and we'll be happy to help you improve and elevate, or even get in, because some of your viewers might not even be in the business. And if you're not in this industry, you need to get in. It's an amazing industry, you know, and we'll go from there. I'm very happy about that. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much, Robert. So to sum it up again, you just said it, but it's in London. It's on 21st of March, and it's for people at different stages of the business, people who want to start, people who have already started a few units, 10, 20 units, or much more, and people who want, as you said, to elevate their business or start. So that's
yes. It fits all different categories: property managers, current hosts, new hosts, people considering, even owners who don't have properties in it. And again, if they want to find us, it's Hosts2Pro, HOSTS, number 2, pros, PROS.com. Limited space, so we hope you guys get to make it. I would love if you had a couple of people there so you could have your own table or group. That would be very nice, you know, because you could grow together, right? That would be nice. And if anybody ever, you know, if you guys wanted to, if you have some questions, people just want to reach out sometimes, you know, I'm on your Facebook. They can look me up. We could, you know, hit me up and we'll connect with each other on Facebook. And information is free, you know, it's willing to share. And I really appreciate you having this platform, inviting me to speak. And I've actually enjoyed this very much. And thank you very much. And I look forward to seeing you there March 21st. I hope so.
Well, thank you very much for all this information. And yeah, for everyone who wants to join or who has questions, as Robert said, I will put both his link for his Facebook and the link for the event. And as he said, it's limited event, limited place, so only 150. So be sure to register as soon as possible. So
thank you. God bless you all. And God bless you, Natasha. Enjoy that beautiful sun I can see in the back there. Enjoy.
Bye-bye.